Jane and Lillian, and I've only got one family friend down here, Shirley, but I know there are lots and lots of fans up there. So please go say hello to them and welcome them. Well, Glen came to prep from EDS in his 9th grade, and when I think of Glen, I see a young man walking the halls of the upper school, a man of few words, quietly going about his business in the upper school. Not so, says Coach Batchelor. Apparently Glen is quite different on the sports fields. It's another side of him that I don't see very often. Football, soccer, basketball, golf, skiing and fishing are all passions of Glen's that keep him busy when he's not doing his academics. He's a permanent team captain for football here at Augusta Prep and is playing varsity basketball and soccer, and he's also a member of the student section club. I don't know what that is. As you can explain. Well, as you see, sports are Glen's life, and he's chosen to talk to you about the economic effects of college football today. So please, let's welcome Glen to the podium.
On every fall Saturday, nearly 500,000 people in the Southeast gather together to scream, yell, clap, boo, and curse. Half go to bed smiling because their team won, and the other half are disappointed. Millions more people across the country watch on television, events that the TV networks pay handsomely to broadcast. College sports at the highest level are big business, perhaps nowhere more than in the Southeast. College sports can mean big-time money for many of the top schools. This chart shows how much the average Division I FBS school makes in various sports, according to data from the Department of Education. Not surprisingly, football is the sport most responsible for total sports revenue. The gap between football and the rest of sports is astounding. The average school generates $31.9 million in football revenue, more than the next 35 sports combined. This chart shows a 3-year average of revenue and profit of college football's most valuable programs. The top 25 most profitable programs average $1.4 billion in profit per year. The SEC is the leading conference on the economic balance sheet and on the football field, winning 10 of the last 13 national championships. It has 10 schools in the top 25. The rest of the top 25 schools include 7 from the Big Ten, 3 from the Pac-12, 3 from the Big 12, 1 from the ACC, and 1 independent. Football programs can generate revenue in many ways. Ticket sales clearly lead the way as the largest source of revenue for top-grossing college football teams in the U.S. The NCAA reported that over $1 billion worth of football tickets were sold between September 2016 and August 2017. Contributions include amounts received directly from individuals, corporations, associations, foundations, and other organizations. Schools also benefit from many types of rights and licensing. Athletic apparel for the largest and most visible teams can be a significant source of income. Just with the guaranteed game strength throughout the year, schools make more than $150 million from TV broadcasts. The average game payout varies between $150,000 and $1.65 million, depending upon the teams playing and the expected TV ratings. The most profitable conferences, the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12, each own their own lucrative TV network. The University of Texas owns the Longhorn Network to broadcast its games, and Notre Dame has an exclusive deal with NBC to broadcast its game. Many athletic programs receive financial support by charging student athletic fees. Some receive support from the university and state fund. Categories of expense include coaching and staff, scholarships, facilities and overhead, and facility graphics or branding. The question of whether college football actually makes money is more complicated than it may seem. Although the obvious answer seems to be yes, we must remember that college football is not limited to big-name schools with high-profile programs and championship wins. Even schools that take in lots of football-related money are not necessarily generating a profit. Profitable programs are not the rule, but rather the exception. As pointed out in the International Business Times, January 20th, 2016, most public universities lose money on their athletic programs. The number of profitable athletic departments, according to the NCAA data, has remained quite stable for years, 15 to 25 every year. According to the Knight Commission on Intercollegiate Athletics, only 8 public university athletic programs broke even or had net operating income on athletics each year from 2005 to 2009. College football's 25 most valuable teams generated a combined $2.5 billion per year in revenue with a profit of more than $1.4 billion after expenses. A tremendous portion of these earnings go toward supporting non-revenue sports like softball and soccer, which helps explain why many of the biggest athletic departments struggle to break even. So for almost every other university, sports is a money-losing proposition. Only big-time college football has a chance of generating enough net revenue to cover not only its own costs, but also those of Olympic sports like field hockey, gymnastics, and swimming. Not even men's basketball perennial powerhouses like Duke University or the University of Kansas can generate enough revenue to make programs profitable. As a result, most colleges and universities rely on what the NCAA calls allocated revenue. This includes support from general funds, student fees, and government appropriations. This means that most colleges subsidize their athletic programs, often very heavily. Even with bowl game revenues and TV contracts, public institutions in the Power 5 conferences provided or subsidized an average of $5.9 million to athletics in fiscal 2009, including $2.4 million in direct general fund support and another $2.4 million in student fees. In other D1 conferences, public institutions subsidized athletic programs with $9.6 million on average in 2009. A 2015 Washington Post article reported that college sports departments make more money than ever thanks to accelerating TV contracts, endorsement and licensing deals, and big spending donors. But many schools are also losing more money than ever. This is true for schools with large revenue as well as smaller revenue. To examine why so many big college athletic departments struggle to profit, the Washington Post analyzed financial reports from the 48 public schools in the Power 5 conferences. Analysis revealed that the combined income of the 48 departments nearly doubled from $2.67 billion in 2004 to $4.49 billion in 2014. As you can see, their expenses also rose to match their income. This slide summarizes the athletic department total revenues from 2004 to 2014. All schools had significant increase in revenue from 2004 to 2014. The numbers in the table represent total athletic department income for both 2004 and 2014. A black dot indicates that the program met expenses or made a profit, while the red dot indicates that the department actually lost money. 25 of these 48 Power 5 public schools athletic departments still actually lost money in 2014. 12 departments actually lost more money in 2014 than they did in 2004. Here are some notable examples to highlight this spending. Auburn spent $14 million on a new scoreboard. Rutgers spent $102 million to expand their stadium. In the SEC, the average pay for a head football coach is $4.1 million. Between 1985 and 2010, the average salaries at public universities in the U.S. rose 32% for professors, 90% for presidents, and 650% for football coaches. The USA Today analyzed contracts, purchase orders, and bid documents related to facility graphics or branding for 29 of the 128 NCAA FBS schools. From 2007 to 10, those schools combined spend slightly less than $500,000 a year on such projects. In 2014, it totaled about $3.1 million. The Texas Tribune analyzed data from 8 Texas public schools which participate in D1 football. They discovered recruitment costs at these Texas schools have risen 131% on average since the 2007-2008 academic year. Those Texas schools spent a combined $9.8 million into recruiting high school players. Texas A&M and the University of Texas have programs profitable enough to subsidize other portions of the athletic department. The athletic departments of the other of these schools were subsidized by $116 million in student fees and other institutional funds. Here is some specific data available for one particular institution which further illustrates rising expenses. In 2004, Auburn University Athletic Department nearly broke even with earnings of $57.5 million. By 2014, income had risen to $109.3, but expenses had increased even more to $126.5 million. Total coaches and staff pay for 2004 was $9.3 million, but by 2014 it had increased to more than $20 million. This included paying head coach Gus Malzahn $4.3 million to coach, as well as paying recently fired head coach Gene Chiswick and his staff $4.1 million, not the coach. Recruiting costs increased from $1.6 million to $2.7 million. In 2004, Auburn purchased a new stadium video board for $2.9 million, but in 2014, they bought another new board for $14 million. This is a somewhat busy but interesting graph that shows which schools are getting the best and worst results for their football program expenses for the years 2006 and 2015. Expenses are from the U.S. Department of Education and are on the x-axis. Football results are from the Massey composite, an index that averages multiple rankings, including the AP poll and the computer rankings, and they're on the y-axis. Schools in the blue zone are those that appear to get the most for their money, whereas those in the pink zone may not have the best return on their investment. The one program that really stands out is Boise State. From 2006 to 2015, the Broncos outplayed their spending ranking by 62.7 spots. Some researchers contend that successful football and basketball teams create publicity that helps universities expand their student applicant pools. Butler University estimated it received television exposure worth $1 billion from trips to the NCAA basketball championships in 2010 and 11, which led to a 40% increase in student applications. Other schools, such as TCU, Virginia Tech, and Alabama, have seen applicant numbers rise in part due to football success. Some programs even funnel money back into academics. The athletic department at LSU returns at least $7.2 million a year back to the school as part of a 5-year agreement to help offset state budget cuts. It was estimated that the economic impact in 2012 to the state of Alabama from the football programs at the University of Alabama at Auburn was somewhere near $500 million. There are more than 1,000 members of the NCAA. Only 65 play football in the dominant Power 5 leagues, and about 300 play in D1 basketball. Outside of the top-tier departments, schools spend millions in student fees and other monies to sustain sports programs. The goal is largely the same: visibility. More and more schools continue to start football programs. Kennesaw State, Georgia State, and Mercer University have all started or restarted football in the past several years. Winning teams unite students, alumni, and university communities. For many students in America, supporting the football team is an integral part of campus life. Many college students consider it to be the most essential extracurricular activity, and it can often be a primary factor in the student's choice of college. Many students enjoy this diversion and want it in a college. They typically carry this identity proudly with them for the rest of their lives. College football games are huge social events and may typically take precedence over school for at least a day or two. These effects have been documented and are not surprising. An 8-year study at the University of Oregon confirmed that when the football team performed well, the grades suffered. The study compared the GPAs of nearly 30,000 students to the one-loss record of the Oregon Ducks from 1999 to 2007. For every 3 games won, the male students' GPA dropped to 0.02. The women's GPA was unchanged. To critics, the number of athletic departments struggling to profit is not evidence of rising costs, but rather bloated spending. Dan Rasher, a sports economist who has testified against the NCAA, said that there's no shareholder demanding a dividend, no one taking profits, so they spend it. David Ridpath, a business professor at Ohio University and a board member for the Drake Group, a nonprofit organization pushing for an overhaul of commercialized college sports, said that it's frustrating to see universities, especially public ones, pleading poverty, and it is morally wrong for schools bringing in millions extra on athletics to continue to charge students and academics to support programs that, with a little bit of fiscal sense, could turn a profit or at least break even. Big-time college sports is a uniquely American phenomenon. Nowhere else in the world are amateur sports regarded with more admiration than professional counterparts. Sports have been intertwined with the American college experience for more than a century. However, it is clear that college sports at present also represent an intersection of business and education never before encountered. The way that universities tackle the challenges that skyrocketing athletic department revenues present will have a major impact on the college experience of each one of us. I hope you have a better understanding of these issues and how they impact your life moving forward. Thank you.